Welcome back to another video, and this is my makeup haul from the month of October. Welcome back, and I almost had an oopsie. I realized when I was looking at my filming schedule that hey, you haven't filmed your October haul video, and probably it's gonna be better for you have the October video individual, because I think with considering that how hectic my December filming schedule is looking, I think what we are probably gonna do is that I'm gonna push to the month of January, the sort of like both the November and December hauls into A1, because as I said at the December we're gonna be having sort of the obviously like my eyeshadow palette declutter for the end of the year, and we're gonna be having my yearly favorites video and then my yearly eyeshadow palette ranking video. So there's gonna be like quite a lot of things, video formats coming in December, and because I don't have more time than to just film 2 videos per week, that is why I think for now we're gonna do the October haul video individually, and then I'm gonna push the November and December hauls into A1 single video, and that I'm gonna be doing on the January. But anyway, what did we get from in October? There is holiday things, we have a few drugstore things, and then we have my Flower Nose haul. And you have seen a review from most of these products except some of the eyeshadow palettes, because I am those are gonna be in a collective eyeshadow palette review though once I get enough palettes to sort of try in. But let's start going through the products, and a disclaimer, these haul videos are meant purely for entertainment purposes. If these videos encourage you to buy more than you can afford, please don't watch these kind of videos. I don't want to encourage anyone to overspend. For me, makeup is a hobby. I have a full-time day job that from the income I then budget some part of it to makeup, but you don't need any makeup, and you definitely don't need this much of makeup. But that disclaimer out of the way, let's start talking about my October purchases. Okay, so first let's go through the Flower Nose stuff. I have already posted a collective Flower Nose makeup review video, and on that video I did also talk a little bit about the ordering process and how things were packaged, because this was my first time trying this particular brand. But what I got from the Flower Nose, they had just launched their sort of teddy bear. I still don't. What was this collection actually called? Yeah, this was the Sweetie Bear collection, which was kind of inspired by these teddy bears in cafeteria, like teddy bears in a cafeteria. Very cutesy as it goes with this brand. So I got I actually had 2 of the eyeshadow palettes, but I wasn't such a big fan of these ones, so I did end up decluttering the other one, and I did keep the pink one because I thought that this was at least like a bit better than the other one. But these were, let's just say, not my favorite part of the video, or the sort of like review. And then I had 2 of the blushes, and these were also from the same collection, and this was the shade 02 Garden Picnic, so this was more of a reddish tone one, and then we had a 03 Rose Jason, and this was a pink one. And I did say that for me I would, especially with these blushes, because Flower Nose, they do a lot of these muted blush shades, so that is why I was quite interested trying these out. I do have to say, if you haven't watched the review video, the blushes I think were quite nice, and then I do think that especially this one, so this is the lipstick from their Angel collection. This is in the shade Golden Wheat, and it was I think this was the like perfect fall shade, so this was what I would say, this sort of like muted brownish orangey shade. And then there was the gloss that was from I think this was from the Strawberry Rococo collection. I think the gloss was like alright, but this wasn't, let's just say, my favorite gloss formula. And again, the shade of this one was, why do this have to be in such a small font? G03 Berry Bomb. But as I said, I do have a review video, but altogether my thoughts were that while some products were nice, this wasn't necessarily a brand that I'm going to be ordering again, because it was relatively expensive, and it did take quite a while to get the products. But at least now I have tried the brand, and I sort of know what the brand is about, because there is quite a lot of reviews with this brand on YouTube and on social media, which partially relates to the fact that they do send out a lot of PR also. Then holiday, so I did order the Dior holiday, or not the whole Dior holiday collection, that would have like probably used my makeup budget up for the rest of the year. But I ordered 3 items for it, and you have seen reviews for all the other products were in my collective review, collective makeup review video, but the eyeshadow palette is gonna be in the palette review video once I'm gonna be having enough palettes for that one. But first one was this one, so this was the Spectacular Highlight Longwear 24-hour hydration, and this is in the shade Abracadabra Forever Glow Maximizer. Yeah, Maximizer is the formula of this, like the name of this particular range. And I had very like conflicting feelings about this one because first of all, it's not gonna go white on your cheek, at least in my particular skin tone. It's more of a peachy shimmer, and this was a lot shimmer, like this had a lot more sparkle to it, especially compared to the like pink version in their sort of mainline that I have tried from this particular range before. And I really had like love and hate relations with this one because on the other hand I do like the effect that this has to it because it's such a visible sparkle and it looks actually a bit different than what you see on the tube, but then on the other hand, because I already have some texture on my cheek because I'm so now in 30s, it was just on the edge that will the sparkle, will it emphasize the texture. So with this one I said that you really have to evaluate what sort of liquid highlighter preferences you have. But overall, if you're looking for something very extra sparkly to your, like, from your liquid highlighters, this definitely has the sparkle to it. Then I had the eyeshadow palette and I actually took the sort of reddish, what was the shade of this one? 636 Fiery Circus, so this was the more of the warm toned one. I think I was in the minority because I think most people were eyeing the purple one, but we all know that purples aren't exactly my primary sort of favorite from the color stories usually, like I show palette color stories, so that is why I ended up taking the more sort of reddish one. And then I got one of the sort of blushes, which was in the shade 850 Starry Mauve, but I think instead of being mauve, the muted pink would maybe be a bit more better description of this shade. This one and the liquid highlighter, I do think, well, like this was I think pretty nice blush, but I did say in my review that considering that how expensive this is, that maybe there is already like something else in your collection that does the same, but I do think the blush quality was nice, not as controversial for me as the liquid highlighter was, and from the eyeshadow quint I'm gonna be talking about that one later. And then I bought one of Fenty's sort of holiday gift set, so I got the set that has the lip liner in the shade Riri, and then the gloss was Grape Splash, and I believe the gloss shade particular, this was a limited edition shade available on a Fenty boutique, I think in New York, and now they brought this gloss shade back in their sort of holiday packaging. The lip liner is from their main line, you can get the lip liner individually. And then I did finally buy one of the Buttermelt blushes from NYX, so now I do have the full range. I have one of the bronzers and then I have the highlighters, and this was in the shade Getting Butter. And this was a why are these so hard to open? So this was a, what I would say, very punchy reddish leaning pink. I do have to say that if you want to buy these are very pigmented, and for me for me at least, because I do have a fair skin tone obviously, I do have to be pretty light-handed. But what I do appreciate with this particular formula, that even though it's pretty pigmented, it is quite like blendable, but you are still gonna, like, if you don't like a showy blush, then I would not like look into this particular blush range. But if you on the other hand do like a very pigmented blush, then I do think you're gonna enjoy this particular range, and because these are from the drugstore, these are relatively inexpensive. And then the sort of like surprise buy, so I actually was finally able to see these in store. So these are the sort of newest palettes that Moira came out in the beginning of, it was already in the beginning of the fall, but it took some time for these to come to the European retailers, and also I did think that I wanted to actually see these in store and not order these online. So mine is in the variation Lover Starlight, so they do have a more neutral golden leaning variation and a more cool tone leaning variation. I got the mauvish pink one, so this is how the insides of it looking. This is gonna be also in a collective eyeshadow bar review video once I get enough palettes. I have already had this in my rotation. I have the sort of swatches and the demo looks like filmed with this one. And I do have to say, like, I have already like tried one more palette previously. I was kind of like the color store was a bit mess, so I ended up decluttering it, but I did discuss on reviewing it that it was a very good quality considering the price point. I think this is like even better, and I don't know how Moira does it considering that these are like only 24 euros, and for 24 euros the quality of eyeshadow that is included in here, it's it's very, very good formula. So I think like already like before giving my sort of conclusive review, I can say that if you've been eyeing any of these palettes in this particular collection, like I would try them out, because I do think for the price point, like I have tried much more worse quality makeup at more expensive prices, and this, how they are able to do it with this particular price point, like I have no idea. And especially here in Europe, because a lot of our drugstore eyeshadow isn't that good. Like let's just say that the other drugstore products in European drugstores have gotten better, but we still, for some reason, the eyeshadow palettes can be very hit and miss. But for the like consumer that also here in Europe, these aren't like that expensive. I would say that these are very, very nice option. Only thing I still have to say, like these are very bulky. I would very wish that, I do kind of like that. I get it that Moira, they probably want to have this sort of book style packaging, but I would just rather that they would shave off shave off the side of this one and have this be much more like thinner, because these are quite, I would say, bulky, considering that I have like similar eyeshadow palettes in like similar sizes and they are much thinner. So the thickness is something that I'm not a fan of, but I do have to say, like overall the packaging also is very good and detailed for being a drugstore eyeshadow palette, so that is also what I'm giving a lot of brownie points for this one. But yeah, if you've been eyeing these palettes from Moira and if you're okay with the thicker packaging, I do say that these are very good quality. That was my sort of like a short-ish haul. Not that much, I would say, products, but I do have to say some of these were very expensive. So the Flower Nose order, that was quite pricey, and also obviously the Dior holiday items, even though there's like only 3 of them, very expensive. So not that many items, but I do still think in terms of budget, I definitely did use the maximum budget that I was able to use for makeup on the month of October. Comment down below what kind of products have you gotten lately into your collection, and have you had some new favorites or maybe some misses with those new products. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I'll see you in another video. Bye bye!